and the contacts of the 70s, if people are familiar with that. I don't know how much they guard their, if that's, I think maybe his life is copyrighted, his story, because I think that people in Hollywood have approached him. It was a pretty famous UFO case in the 70s. And I think somebody has wanted to make a film about that before, and they've said no, they don't want it, being touched in any way, so that might be a problem. I don't know.
Right, but Richard C. Hoagland looks nothing like Richard C. Hoagland.
Yeah.
So kind of maybe helps you out there.
Yeah, yeah.
What do we got? Right over there.
Yeah, just from a historical autobiographical perspective, if you can dredge it up, do you remember specifically when you felt like you were separating from the normal time stream of movie making? Because obviously in the 70s and in the early days of Spielberg, you were very pro-Hollywood, or at least you loved what they were putting out, and then obviously at some point it's gone south.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that happening at the time, or is this something that you've worked out after the fact?
He's asking when he felt the shift from when he was pro-Hollywood with Spielberg in the 70s and when he felt the shift.
Well, that's, when things changed, by the late 80s, I'd say it was the late 80s was the period to me that sort of defines, when things went bad. In the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, you still had the Renaissance period, the revisionist era, the independence, and the Easy Riders, Raging Bull era, and all that. So there were a lot of great, interesting things going on then, and then by the late 80s, that's when the market niche thing came along. Things changed dramatically, and they just got worse, really. They just progressively, and just when you think they can't get worse, now we're in this weird time where it's so bad, it's unimaginable. I mean, even people who love mainstream films are starting to realize, geez, do we need another Batman movie? I mean, my God. So I think even people who are trapped in that, or are part of the new reality, I guess you could say, are starting to realize there's something wrong. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that.
Someone else had their hand up somewhere? Right there.
What's this movie about?
Yeah, I was wondering if something was going to ask that. It is pretty esoteric. And like I was saying, keeping a narrative thread together with the haphazards, style of shooting. I don't know. I'm not very good at it. It's about a girl who is obsessed with the Billy Myers story and UFOs and crystals and New Age things. And she's an avid coast-to-coast listener, has read books by Richard Hoagland, and she's obsessed with that field, and she becomes disillusioned as she learns more about specifically the Billy Meyer, the UFO contacts, and how the footage was probably fake and not genuine, and she goes through this disillusionment period, and it just devastates her. But she's also supposed to be a little crazy and mentally unbalanced, and because she kills her landlord, and the character as it's described as she doesn't leave her room much, she doesn't go outside because she has this ability to see the dead zone, which is what the black oil on the sky is. She has, and the dead zone.
I don't think movies have to be about something. If you go to see, I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't think that's a fair question. I think if you go to see a movie and you're entertained, it's worthwhile. Sorry.
What's this movie about? What's this movie about?
Well, all your films seem very autobiographical, and in a weird way, you know, and well, what do you feel is probably the most autobiographical of your films? Would it be Reflections? Would it be this? Which has the biggest chunk of you in it?
Well, probably Reflections, for sure.
Yeah. Do you think that's what keeps the fact that it is somewhat there is a chunk of you in it that keeps the narrative, that keeps it afloat, like this film, no matter how much you piece it together, it is very much somehow you?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't trying to wasn't thinking of that or approaching it that way. I don't know how much of it is me. It's a character came up with.
Right. But when someone's yelling at someone for using lots of solar flares in their editing.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, okay. So I did incorporate that part in our characters. Yes. I'll give you that. Yeah.
But there's, all right. Fair enough.
Has your landlord seen your movies?
No, but I've given her DVDs, and I don't know if she's ever watched it.
In trade for rent.
Yeah. Didn't work. I don't think so. No. She's not really a movie buff.
All right. Way back there.
I've seen your films before. I get this kind of impression that it's like an anti-theater kind of thing.
It's like a what? I'm sorry?
Kind of like an anti-theater kind of thing where because there's you arbitrarily put sound effects in places and screen effects in places and stuff like that. And this one specifically, there's like the kind of doppelganger thing going on where it kind of switches suddenly. So I was just wondering if that's kind of a conscious thing that you're trying to make an anti-statement in a way by kind of arbitrarily putting things in places.
So what if he's making a statement with his, I guess, sound editing and...
A statement about what?
You said anti-theater as in live theater or theater?
Well, it's kind of like an anti-statement.
Anti what? Conventional or
Yeah.
mainstream convention statement or something like that?
Anti-conventional, because it was interesting the way all of a sudden the character isn't the character anymore.
You mean Foxfur?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't think there was any conscious decision going on with whatever. It's purely just the chaos of no budget filmmaking, and so I'm not sure though. I don't know how to answer. I'm sure I fully understand the question, but yes, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Do you feel it's getting easier to make a film than it was, say, 3 years ago? Not 15, 20 years ago, but 3 years ago, because I know so many people, thanks to Kickstarter and a lot of campaigns and people being able to afford their own cameras to come help you out. Is it now easier to make this than, say, even Space Disco?
Yeah, probably. I mean, in terms of camera, in terms of equipment, and I don't know, easier to make in what way? Just as far as equipment availability, or
just to get your film done to whatever you envision, and then actually be able to film it, get everyone